Hello everyone, this is LW Gaming and welcome to a brand new installment, well I should say a new installment for future Langrisser. And this one is going to be covering the major update that's going to be happening global relatively soon by the time of recording. Today is the 26th. The time of the update for major update for this one will be on the 5th of June, which it kind of reminds me of a certain thing that's going to get released on the same day. And you might be referring this when it comes to Nintendo, although I'm pretty unsure what to think of that because what I've heard about what the company does is like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to say, man. It seems like they're going in a direction where many people could not follow. Let's just say that. So, anyways, let's get back on topic. Anyways, the update is going to be covering the new character, the new limited time character named Sylrna. And this is the 6.5 anniversary update. And believe it or not, 6.5 anniversary updates isn't something like, exclusive to like, Langrisser as a whole, because other games also does that too whenever they do like a half anniversary celebration. So yeah, some people find this and rub the wrong way, which it is what it is. But I mean, it's their game, so you can't do anything. You cannot convince them to say this is not anniversary, even though it kind of is, but it's only half the year. So, anyways, this update is gonna bring a lot of good stuff on here, which includes Hero Bag, by the way, which will include all the characters that have released so far, except for crossovers and limited time characters. So, anyways, let's get right into it. And see what the Sylrna is up to. And also, by the way, this installment will be different than you normally would would uh would see, because this one I decided to return and add some new stuff in here. Like, if you remember last time when I made something about Lost them and I think Ashmar is the other one. But anyways, I made some like aspects of that where I tell you about like certain things. Well, these features are finally back in the form of future Langrisser. So look forward to that one in this video. So anyways, that was a long intro, so I apologize for that. But anyways, let's get right into the main part of the video, which is Sylrna's talents, skills, and skills of course, and also what factions is part of. And speaking of factions, you may notice that there's like a glowing thing on the Dark Reincarnation symbol. That's because she is the third and new faction buffer for Dark Reincarnation. Yes, after a long time, Bozo and Licorice has been carrying the faction buff for so long without any new buffers. Meanwhile, other factions receive new faction buffers in the form of later like modern units, such as Grenchill as a new addition for strategic masters, Zion as a new faction buffer for protagonists, Bright Summoner with a new glory faction buffer. I can just go on with the list. So I'm not gonna say everyone's new additions here because that would make the video too long. So, anyways, let's cut to chase. Anyways, her factions are Origins of Light, Real Less Legends. Of course, many people find this faction pretty dominant when it comes to PvP, which they're not wrong. I've seen a lot of units that are meta part of that faction. And now there's Dark Reincarnation, which we might see that as well, along with Uless, but not as much as Uless though. And the classes she has are Demon and Mage. Obviously, you want to go for Mage because Mage is neutral on class advantages, but keep in mind that the stats is going to be different because the Demon is probably has a higher stats, but you do run the risk of like getting attacked by Hollies. But anyways, Mage is more like neutral, but you won't get any additional benefits when it comes to stats, which is unfortunate. But oh well, it is for the sake of her, like go like play well out there, of course. And of course, all the information about Sylrna is already available in my LangWiki's Discord server. So join that server if you want to look more into it. But in this video, this will basically tell you what kind of stuff that she has. So like there's some stuff in here like talents and to her unique skills. They're actually officially translated to global. So that means that there won't be any much work here. And the talent right here you see here is the official translation, not the CN rough translation, not like that. We got the official one this time, which is nice. Nice change of pace here. So anyways, damage does increase by 15 to 30% depending on star level. And also, even though she is a ranged unit, she is not affected by melee damage penalty. Kind of the same deal with Tiana. if you ask me. Although, speaking of which, some guys might be wondering, isn't Sylrna the sister of Enya? The answer is yes, she is. But she's like a dark sister, to be exact. The one that possesses dark power rather than like the Enya's preferred. I don't know how you call it, but I think it's like a the illusions like with water. Well, for her, she kind of took on a similar term, like similar way, but a little differently. But actually, let's just say more dark. So, anyways, after taking action, Sylrna can choose to summon one Dreamworld Rift, which is the portal that she will summon. And then after summoning, she can move again with the remaining mobility and attack again. And also, here's the thing about the portal. So, whenever Sylrna is within 2 blocks of that, she cannot be targeted by enemies' normal attacks and skills. And also, while within that range, she cannot take AoE skill damage. So yeah, which makes her extremely dangerous. Like, think of her as if she's Hiei, standing at the edge of the AoE. Yeah, that kind of deal, but this will actually activate no matter where she is within the portal, which is actually crazy if you think about it. And also does not consume ability when passing, and also can pass through enemies while moving within 2 blocks of this. And also this can be like the Dream World Rift can be summoned again after 5 to 3 turns, depending on star level. And then Dream World Rift inherits 80% of Sylrna's stats and will disappear at the start of the second turn after being summoned. So this does not stay forever for balancing purpose, of course. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at the skills that she has. And yeah, that's a lot of words in here. So I'm going to try to digest as much as possible and give you like a short term of what they do. So 1C skill is a sleep rule skill. This one basically prevents enemies from attacking when Sylrna attacks initially, of course, and as long as she's within 2 blocks of her portal, by the way, in order for this to work. And then the town cooldown will be reduced by 1 turn after battle. So yeah, this one's a passive skill. This is actually pretty good for her. So like she can like do damage while also without the enemy attacking you back, which is awesome for you, but not for your opponent. And then for 1C skill, Brand of Retribution, this one is where something is going to get really, really interesting in a dark term. What this does that is like when any other non-summon ally units is defeated, she's going to have her trigger cooldown reduced by 1 turn, and the dealer is afflicted with Brand of Retribution, which will ignore immunity and cannot be dispelled, and this will last for 2 turns. Whenever you fight enemies with Brand of Retribution, the target cannot trigger revive effects. And all stats except HP are reduced by 20%. When successfully eliminate an enemy, this one will summon a phantom in its place. And this one is like a copy, but of the enemy that you just killed. And this will disable only in. I mean, the revive disable only works in PvP, by the way, which makes sense because that's what this does. Like for most of the revive disable effects, they don't want you to have that cheese in the PvE mode, which is understandable because this is meant for PvP. And the Phantom inherits everything that the original units has, such as base status, and it is considered as Dark Reincarnation unit. So just like the Enya's copy clone, whatever that is, like which was treated as a ULS unit, in Sylrna's case, is a Dark Reincarnation unit, which makes sense. Like, could you imagine that the character that you just killed that happens to be like non-Dark Team unit? Well, now with the Phantom, they are considered Dark Team, which is absolutely hilarious to think about. Like, basically, they are possessed by a fallen state, whatever that was. So yeah, this 1C, even though it's just a simple 1C, this is dangerous. So just keep that in mind. Like, you can only choose like one of the two, or you can bring both. But anyways, it's totally up to you for the builds. And the 2C skill, Weapon of the Dark Realm. Not Dark Realm, Dark Dream. This is a faction buff exclusive to her, of course, for Dark Reincarnation teams, which will buff everyone as usual, like most of the faction buffs. And the effect on this one is that when actively attacking in combat, damage dealt is increased by 8%, and each time when a unit dies, doesn't matter if it's yours or the enemy's, damage dealt will be increased by 2% each time, and this can be increased up to 8%, up to a whopping of 16% total. And this will last for 4 turns, just like most of the faction buffs. Well, I should say all the faction buffs per se. And the 2C skill that she has is Blessing of the Dreams. Blessing of Dreams, I mean. And of course, this is a CN translated, by the way. And when this is a assist skill, and this is considered an active skill as well. So after use, active use can reduce the cooldown of all skills of the target ally by 3 turns, restores HP equal to 5 times of Sylrna's int, and at the same time, apply Blessing of Dreams to that ally. And also with this buff, that ally can, like, whenever they are near that Dream World Rift portal, whatever that was, they cannot be attacked by enemies' normal attacks and skills, and immune to AoE skill damage. And this will last for 2 turns and cannot be dispelled. So essentially, this buff is treated as a Sylrna's main part of her talent, but this is passed on to the ally you chose, which is absolutely nuts. So like, not only she herself can benefit from this, your allies can also benefit from this as well. Whenever you give them this skill, yeah, this is absolutely nuts. I don't know how I feel about Apex going forward, but I would imagine that things are gonna get really chaotic. And what I think she's gonna be a new first ban, definitely, because of how crazy she is, with like where she can negate damage as well as like prevent AoEs going after you. Oh man, absolutely nuts. And finally, the 3C skill, Dream C Ultimatum, which is a 4 turn cooldown, 2 blocks, single target. Passive on this skill is that after summoning Dream World Rift, this will auto trigger that Dark Reincarnation faction buff effect. And this effect is different than the first one that I had mentioned. So when actively attacking, damage that was increased by 15%. When moving through an allied Dreamworld Rift, gains a chance to negate 1 block of mobility, and this will last for 4 turns. And you cannot stack it with other fusion powers, such as her other version as well. So yeah, you can only have one of these. So if you have unlocked this already, do not slot in the other faction buff because it's gonna overwrite. So don't do that. And then the physical damage, the physical part of this is that is, oh whoops, it's not physical. Whoops, this is magical. Hold on, I'll be right back. There we go, all fixed up. So it should be magic damage, not physical. No idea how that got through my mind. So anyways, this one attacks one enemy, dealing 1.7 times damage, and inflicts damage taken plus 20%, as well as cannot guard effect, and cannot be targeted by ally skills, and cannot receive skills effect from allies. Only in PvP mode, by the way. So for 2 turns. So yeah, this right here is absolutely nuts. So like, not only you inflict damage taken increase on the enemy you attacked, you also inflict a really nasty debuff, and it's only in PvP mode, which will prevent them from being guarded, and they cannot be helped by allies with the skills. And also the effect, even if you apply this on other units that can be targeted, they are not going to benefit from the effects at all. So basically, they cannot be healed whatsoever. They cannot get buffs from the skill that you're trying to get them to. This is essentially isolation, which is absolutely nuts. And this will stay there for 2 turns, and you cannot dispel it. But there is a way to resist it though. But of course, you have to use something like Ilya's Axiom or Rosensteel's debuff immunity, like one of those two, or even Gospel to be exact, to protect the units from being hit by this. And if there's an allied Dreamworld Rift within 2 blocks of the enemy, that enemy can't be guarded when attacked with this skill. After combat, Sylrna can choose to teleport herself to any positions within 2 blocks of an allied Dreamworld Rift. So yeah, so like after attacking, she's gonna be able to teleport to safety within the rift. So that way she won't be attacked at all whenever the enemy tries to retaliate with like anything, like in general. The AoE, nope, she's just gonna ignore that. Single targets, you can't even target her. So yeah, she's absolutely nuts and pretty hard to deal with because the portal is just gonna take the hits instead of Sylrna. I mean, not like tank like thing, but it's just the enemy won't be able to do anything against her if she's near that portal. So be careful. And this is a new part that I just decided to return here. So now I'm gonna explain what bonds she's gonna be needing for her for bonds unlocks. And fortunately for all of you, she does not need anyone for bonds. And also she does not unlock anyone else's bonds. But however, even though I did say that, that doesn't mean it's gonna be like this forever. Because there's a chance that Sylrna might be important in the later updates. Well, I'd say in the future that is. And for herself, she just needs class upgrades, which is treat her as if she's a collab unit, or I'd say limited time unit, like LRs, for example. Yeah, it's pretty easy to understand. So you just need to upgrade her class to like specific classes, and you're pretty much good to go. Which is a nice thing to have because honestly, having it this way is way better when you're building units because if you only have that one character that you can work with, and that does not need like anyone else with bonds, that's perfect for you because you don't need to invest more for other units for her bonds. Okay, moving on. Let's see what else we have here. So, what uses we should be using here? And this is also a returning thing from the previous version I've made with Blossom and Ashimar. So for PVE, she is decent unit and can help clear contents. Sometimes, of course. And PvP, this is where her true potential shines. Which, of course, like I mentioned earlier, she is pretty broken if you think about it. But of course, this will also work in PvE as well. So, yeah, this makes her really dangerous. And is she worth pulling? The answer is obviously a hard yes. And this is for PvP players and a limited hero collector. And she is the third dark buffer that will make a big difference for dark teams, which honestly, that's no cap. It is actually pretty insane if you think about it. And now let's move on to the next thing, which is the new SP hero in this update. Yes, you heard that right. The new SP hero we got this time is Landius. So yep, Landius is finally getting a SP class in this update, and he's gonna bring a lot of new things to the table. So, anyways, his SP class is a cavalry class, and the factions remain the same as usual, which is protagonist and Ulez Legends, and he's the Ulez Legends faction buffer. And his SP talent is Arcane Holy Barrier, which will improve from his initial talents, by the way. And this will allow him to equip any skills he wants with the ignored skill cost. So like if you like usually in the past like you can only select skills based on the skill cost, but now with that lifted, you can just choose whichever you want. And then attack is increased by 10, 13, 16 to 20%, depending on star level, and adds 5 to 15% of the attack to defense and magic defense. And yeah, this is actually pretty nice. And also, when taking fatal damage, Landius will not die and restores 20 to 50% HP. This effect can only be triggered once per map. After taking action, if there are skills, I mean not skills, if there are allies within 3 blocks, Landius gain 1 stack of Glory Resonance, and this will basically take like range damage taken reduced by 10%, and reflects 10% of damage received back at the attacker in combat. And this is very powerful buff, by the way. This effect can be stacked up to not 5 times, up to 3 times, and this will last for 2 turns. And the new soldier he comes with in this SP form is the Vanguard. It's a nice addition here, at least. And let's see what else do we look at. Oh, of course, the skills. So both of these skills that he comes with are 2Cs. That's what. And remember, was wondering why not 1C. Well, it's because his talent enables him to select whatever skill he wants without limitations. So, anyways, the 2C SP skill, the first one is called Guardian of Glory. This is a 1 turn cooldown, 3 blocks, ends a single target. And the passive part of this is that after casting Tranquility or Peace of Mind, which is his like unique guard skill, or even his 3C version of that, all Ulez Legends allies gains attack. Yeah, which is basically a faction buff essentially, but this is a different version of faction buff. But do I think this is better than his initial? It really depends on what kind of situation it is. So, anyways, what this does is that it increases the damage by 8% when fighting units without a class advantage. damage increased by additional 8%, and which is basically 16%, slightly a little more than his initial, which is only 15% when battling someone that's like that has no class advantage against you, or other way around. And this effect does not stack with other fusion powers. So you do not want to stack this with another fusion power that you have. So don't do that. And the active part of this skill is that whenever you use this one, it grants the target ally one stack of glory resonance, which is basically the same thing that what he gets from his talent. Like range damage taken minus 10%, and when attacked by an entering combat, reflects 10% of the damage received back at the attacker. And this can be stacked up to 3 times and lasts for 2 turns. So it's the same deal, but for your allies. And then the other 2C SP skill he comes with is Wrath of the Night Order. 2C is a 2-turn cooldown. It's a self-cast and it's a single target. The passive is that when attacked in melee combat, damage taken is reduced by 10%, with an additional 5% reduction for each stack of Glory Resonance. So yeah, you're going to need to stack this up as much as possible. And then the active part of this is that whenever you use this, for every unit within 3 blocks, Landius gain 1 stack of Wrath of Night Order. And also what this does is that when attack and entering combat, unit range is increased by 1. If a buff is dispelled, Wrath of the Night Order will be dispelled first. Can stack up to 5 times and last for 2 turns. So yeah, with this here, this is actually pretty insane here. So whenever whenever you activate this one, and whenever like whenever unit within 3 block sets. So basically, when you activate this near your allies, like for the maximum of 3, well, not I mean as many times as you want, like with a maximum of 5, I mean, he's gonna gain stacks of this, which is unique, and also this is treated as a shield as well against dispellers. So if you're getting your buffs dispelled, those will be prioritized first before getting your actual buffs. So what do I think about this Landius? I would say it is a significantly improvement from like the previous Landius that we have. And do I want to slot him in? We'll have to see, because I kind of feeling with someone will have to get replaced, which of course will be Lightbringer as one of them, because I already have a unit that can do like a mass resist. So I don't think I have a problem replacing her with anybody else. Like Tiaras, Selka, like these two has mass resist. So yeah, I don't think I'll need to. I don't think I'll need to keep Lightbringer anymore, because she's kind of falling off in some situations where she's obviously not great against Dragon Slayer, and she will get destroyed if you try to tank against him. So yeah, I'm not gonna let her suffer too much. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the new SP Soldier. This time we got Dark Elf Sniper. This does not add any additional heroes to the pool with this soldier, so this will just be okay, but it's actually pretty useful here. So when entering combat, attack and defense is increased by 30%. If soldiers have 100% HP, which is in the healthy state, reduce the enemy's defense by 25% before combat, and this will last for 1 turn. Yeah, this Dark Elf Sniper SP soldier is actually pretty of a nice upgrade, but sadly this does not add additional units. So yeah, do I think this is worth it? It just depends on your team composition, or I should say roster composition. Anyways, moving on to the next one, which is the new SP soldier for Elven Spear Thrower. This one, I would say, is the one of those soldiers that will be like essentially supposed to be synergized with Amelia, but in the initial launch, they're actually just not gonna do much outside of that. So this one, hopefully, this will add some new stuff to the table. So what this new version of SP does is that it increases the soldier's attack by 30%, and just like the initial form, they can attack from any distance. And damage taken is reduced by 20%, which is well needed buff, by the way. Unit will attack first before the enemy if positioned in forest, mountain, or grassland. And man, this version is so much better. So yeah, if you ever got your hands on this soldier, yeah, you can happily run Emilia if you want. And also, I think she's much essential now. But the thing is, Dragon Slayer out there can destroy whole units. So I think she's work best as a Lancer. But anyways, it's totally up to you. But if you use her as a Lancer, you might lose the opportunity to use the hammer. I might be wrong there, but we'll have to see. Because hammer is the only weapon that she can work with. That's actually pretty decent for her at least, because she's the MDEF converter. I'm not sure if that's gonna work in the Lancer class, but we'll see. And finally, we got the new SP soldier for Leviathans. This actually I forgot to mention what soldiers are part of our additions for this one. So Grenier, Hilda, Oboro, Alpha, and Hoffman. They are all going to be able to use this when you unlock their SP. When unlock the SP soldier for this one, as well as unlocking, as well as beating that ultimate challenge. And finally, we got Leviathans. This one is an aquatic soldier, of course. So, anyways, what this does that increases all the stats by 30% when actively initiating combat. Attack is increased by 45%, while in water, crit is increased by 40%, and the unit's attacks ignore melee damage penalty. So yeah, basically Leviathans, even though they're ranged units, they are no longer being like weakened by melee attacks because they will deal full damage no matter what. And and additional heroes that can use this are McLean, Varash, Lester, Angelina, and Jugler. Kind of funny how Zeon decided to slot Lester even though hardly anyone use him nowadays. But I mean, it's just there as an option. But I mean, it's pretty silly if you think about it. And let's move on to the next part of the video, which is banners. What banners are we going to expect here? So the first week, obviously, we'll be expecting the Sylrna banner, which is singular, by the way. And this will run for the whole major update cycle, which is 5 weeks long, by the way, if you're wondering. Let's see, is this even a right date? Hold on one second. Okay, I checked just to make sure, and this is indeed 5 weeks update. So, yeah, the dates are correct. I was checking and see if I enter it right. So, no worries. So, anyways, on week 2, we'll be expecting the return of Enya's banner as well as AO banner. This will start on the second week, and this will also last until the end of the major update, which is the 9th of July. And this will also have Awesome Summon banner. Although, even though I did say that here, it doesn't mean it's gonna be like there forever. This was actually is gonna appear for on the week 2, but this may change for global, so keep an eye out for that one. This will have all the characters all the way up to Saffron and Norin, and this does not include the characters that are within the limited time lineup. And this also counts. This also means collaborations will not be in there either. And also on that same week, there's also going to be the Wish banner for Langrisser 1 to 5. Yep, both banners that are previously issued as Langrisser 1, 2, and 3, and 4 and 5 are now merged in one in this banner. Which of course it makes sense because it's to reduce clutter. Because if they kept doing it like this without changing it, yeah, there's going to be a lot of banners to the point where it's going to be causing a lot of confusions. But anyways, it's nice that they're going to merge those two together as one banner, which makes sense in the long run. And then on week 3, we'll be expecting the Radar banner featuring the Z2 and Celica, or I should say Z2 known as Sword of Night and Shadow, and just Celica. And that banner is worth the pull if you haven't got Celica already, or even Z2 even. And there's also the Destiny banner featuring Lemia, Jace, and Gun. And also the Witch banner for Langrisser Mobile 1 and 2 will be there as well. And also the return of Bright Summoner will be here as well, starting on the 3rd week, and this will end by the end of the major update. Which is a nice thing to have for those who have missed her the first time. Although we might be seeing some more LR lineup in there, so we might be seeing someone like maybe Ice and Dragon Slayer might come along as well. But I'm just thinking that because previously in the global version, whenever we expected Ice Abyss's reissue, we also got ourselves Bright Summoner as well. So yeah, for global, we things might change in here, like additional banners or maybe not. And on week 4, this is where things gonna get really interesting because there are 4 radar banners, and all of these are themed around Valentine's banner. So basically, if you have like a those tokens that you get whenever you summon a hero on those types of banners, you can use those to exchange for the other character. So for example, if you have someone like Zion, for example, like my alt account has been saving that shards and also has the token already, you can just use that to trade in for another character. For my alt, I'm going to have to use that for Ilya. So anyways, the banners lined up this time around are Roland and Prezia, Zion and Alia, and also funny enough, Zion is also available on the other one too. Zion and Ilya, Ymir and Nymph. Although an odd choice, but I guess that makes somewhat sense. But honestly, I've never been playing 12 of our storylines, so I'm not too sure what these two are about when it comes to Valentine's. But it might just be like the pre-form before Ymir's zombie form or zombie fight or whatever it is. And finally, week 5, we'll be seeing more limited time units coming back, which are Watham and Apo, the two evil Matthews. One of them is just straight up evil, and the other one is just the god of Matthew. Uh, and there's also going to be Tensei heroes coming along as well. Yeah, and I also noticed that the video I've been making here is like more than half an hour long already, so I'm always going to timestamp them in case you guys need to skip ahead, so you don't have to hear me rumble all the time. Okay, moving on to the next part, which is the what events slash changes to expect for this update. So when you're watching this video, you may notice that the new login event has already started, which is a couple of days ago by the time you're watching this. You'll get Cortez for free this time around. So yeah, this is no exaggeration. You can get Cortez for free in the next 60 days, which is nice. And also, there's going to be a Secret Realm event, which will be featuring New Year's themed. And of course, we'll be expecting Rune Workshop for those who needs like a specific enchant, like to your desire, of course. And also, Endless Voyage will be expected to come back in this update, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. And then for the changes they'll be adding to this update are in the Floating City Hub, like basically your main menu, by the way, where you normally would be able to select one hero at a time. Well, in this update, you can select up to 30 heroes at a time, which is absolutely nuts. And basically, this will give the game like a glow up when it comes to your main menus like selection. Like whenever you boot up a game, you don't always get that same character you select. You can just select multiple and then have them randomized each time. But of course, you can choose to not do that and just stick with one if you preferred. But this is a nice change for those who wants to express what characters they have adored. Like not just one character. They can have multiple favorites in there. And also, this is the update where they'll introduce simplified farming when it comes to crops and mines. So basically, they're gonna make those things simplified, which will allow you to easily crop those like craft those salads or even the ores that you need for forging. And then also they added a shop icon button in the salad creation UI for the convenience of since they're changing the ways how farming works, might as well add a shop icon since they're changing it. All right, moving on to the next part, which is the new confessions and exclusive. Well, only one for each of them though. This time around, we got AO's headwear. Some of you guys might be thinking, wait, isn't AO still good to this day? You're not wrong about that, but the exclusive is what something that made people find it a bit, I would say, questionable because even though AO is still good to this day, she's still getting it. I guess it's different for CN, but I don't know. I mean, this is nothing new, by the way. Like limited heroes with like exclusive. We already got someone like Watham and Apo getting exclusive now, but now AO is getting one here, which I guess to like even the odds. HP is increased by 10%. When fighting enemies with spellbound, attack and end is increased by 15%. Upon death, apply spellbound to all enemies within one block of the attacker. Pretty straightforward, and this headwear is actually pretty pretty good for those who like really going in recklessly against AO, and they'll pay the price for it for being like reckless. But of course, this does not do damage, but it's just that it'll be difficult for them to move around if they kill AO like this. And the new confession for this update is Nonorin. We'll be able to see how many times we have fought with her in this update. So that would be a nice thing to have. Okay, next up is the new casting skills. This time around are the OG units from the past. So the first one we got is Narm. What this does is that increases her attack by 10%. Actually, both the castings have increase of attack 10%. So I'm just going to dismiss that one. When using a skill to attack, if there are enemies with a reduced mobility debuff or mark within 6 blocks, they are considered within Narm's skill range, and ranged soldiers will also attack. So yeah, this essentially makes her feel like a Patricia in some ways, or even Sagani in certain situations. So, like even though she's far away, like at least within 6 blocks of like the target that has like a debuff of a mobility down, she's gonna be able to attack enemies from that far, which is absolutely nuts with her skills, by the way. And then the other casting skill we got is Cherie. This will improve her act again capabilities. When triggering the talent's act again effect, the buff duration on Cherie will not decrease, and all skills cooldowns are reduced by 1 turn. This is short and simple, and actually, in fact, is pretty good for Cherie because like previously she had to wait for 1 turn before she can use her 3C again after killing the enemy. Well, with this casting, she can just cast that 3C again without worry about like waiting for 1 turn, because that is no longer a case with this casting. Do I think both these characters are going to make a difference in Apex? I don't think so, to be honest, because their primes are already gone, and I don't think there's any ways to bring them back. I don't know though. Waifu Wars might take advantage of this, but at the same time, maybe they might end up deciding to ban them in this case. But we'll have to see. And finally, before we close off this episode, there's going to be a reminder on what we'll be expecting in the next update. So the next update is where things are going to get really interesting, because 2 new characters from Langrisser Millennium and Wonderswan are coming up next, which are Mecha Era and Shem. And they will bring something interesting to the table, PvP, but although overall there's only one unit that you might actually benefit from this, which is of course the Dancer Lady, which is known as Mecha Era. As for Shem, he is alright unit, but not really like a must for PvP. So this one is like a 50-50 of like importance when it comes to meta. So anyways, that's it for this video, and I apologize for a long video because I had to like make some changes to this series as a whole, but did not think of resulting of longer videos. So I'll always timestamp them whenever I need them. So I'll see you all next time.